Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode, I have no idea because
588.
covered the show notes.
I will fix that
with the camera footage.
So
I only have one thing to talk about this whole entire show, so I don't really. Nothing on show notes matters.
Well, who are you?
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is the 15th of November.
Nope.
Of September.
We are off to an amazing start.
Yeah.
It's like we have not done this 500 and so many times before.
Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns, and we're both unintentionally wearing LGBTQ shirts.
We did not.
Although, to be fair,
discuss.
A large number of our
wardrobes
tees are, in some way. Yours are almost all like literacy and or book related, with a crossover of knitting and or LGBTQ.
That is a true story.
So yeah, neither of us has a ton to talk about, but we do have a fabulous
magazine to review. Yeah,
so we'll get to that.
It's like it's episode 100 again. We've got something to review.
I know. And that's not to say that like recent publications haven't been great and review worthy. We've just sort of gotten out of the habit of it.
Yep.
But yeah, so you've got something to talk about. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure, because it does not matter. I'm just going round and round and round. I am working on my shoulder season test knit for Shayna Lyons Designs. It is due at the beginning of October,
which is 2 weeks away.
It is just 2 short weeks. So this is the front, and I am around 3 inches, maybe 4 inches at this point, below the arm sleeve divide.
Really pretty. This is, what is it, Antagonist?
Yes. And a matching of Stranded Dye Works Jude's dye job. And then the back is garter. So in the round. So I am enjoying it immensely. It is not, it's potato chippy because this repeat, you always want to get to the next repeat. Mm-hmm. But it is one that I have to think a little bit more on. So at
the start of each row, you have to like decide, am I knitting here or am I...
That's true, but also am I slipping stitches? Like, there's some other things that are going on the side that you can't see.
Okay.
So I have quite often ripped back, but that's okay. I'm getting my money's worth out of this yarn, and it is delightful. So this is Jude's Merino Nylon Blend, and I am also extending the length of mine so that it is a little bit longer. So I have around 12 more inches, 13 more inches to go. I figured out in order to get it done in time, this is my life, I need to knit 67 yards a night, which is around 3 hours worth of knitting. So there's
you go
some
through
nights,
a skein like every week, roughly?
You would think. That has not been happening. So what I have left, I am alternating skeins. Thank you for bringing that up because I totally forgot. So these are my first 2 skeins. I think Jude's yarn is around 420 yards.
Yeah, if it's 420, like then that's 67. It's 7 into, so 5 to 6 days. Per skein.
But yesterday I weighed these, and together they were still at 60 grams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are never going to end.
I mean, that's great for someone who always runs out of yarn.
Yeah. Oh, and I have 2 more of these.
Yeah.
And a ton, because Jude kindly sent me a full skein of the purple. You can do the shoulder section out of a 20 gram mini easily. It's a great way to use up a mini. It's a very fun pattern. I'm just at a point where I'm just going round and round and round, doing different stitch patterns, and that's kind of fun too. But yeah, that is all that I'm working on, because I am focused on, I'm monogamous, I don't know who I am anymore, and I'm focused on getting this done. I am knitting it on size 3 signature needles, and it is going as quickly as it possibly can to be knitting a fingering weights sweater on size 3 needles. But it's enjoyable. It's just making me think a little bit more than I'm used to. I am definitely a stockinette sweater kind of person. So, it's a little bit more.
Does it have sleeves?
Yes.
Or just like shorty sleeves?
Just like shorty sleeves. Okay. And it will also have a neck.
Like an I-cord?
Detail. Not an I-cord, but a neck detail that will happen. So, and a bottom hem. So, lots to get done. I was hoping to have both these skeins knit up, like these skeins done by today. So like 840 yards in, and that was front loading a little bit, but obviously that did not happen.
I mean,
but it'll get done.
You put a lot of, stress is not the right word, you put a lot of deadlines on yourself. And I know this is a test knit, right? So that comes with a deadline.
This is an exterior deadline, but also the USPS lost my skein of yarn from Jude for an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it kind of put me behind a little bit. But because Jude sent me 2 packages on the same day, and the package with my overalls arrived like 2 weeks before this package with the skein of yarn, and it arrived, and some more overalls. So, and there'll be more overalls tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I really want this one print, and apparently last time they put it up, it sold out within like a minute. Mm-hmm. So, I'm gonna be like, small children, do not speak to me for this 1 minute, so I can buy this mushroom print overall, because I am living my best Miss Frizzle life.
It is a very cute print. I'll give you that.
I like it a lot. You can borrow it anytime you want.
It's all right.
That would be a very funny picture.
Why?
Because I'm so tall, and you're so not tall.
This is true. But those overalls that you get, she gets them from this company called Run and Fly.
In Great Britain.
Yeah, and they're not. I guess when I sort of picture overalls, I picture the more sort of sturdy denim or canvas. And these, although they had the look of a canvas, they're much like stretchier and softer.
They're stretched twill.
So, it surprised me when I saw them the first time.
I have to decide which pair I'm going to wear tomorrow. I get to wear them to school on Friday, so I get to wear a pair of overalls.
Oh, tomorrow's Friday, I think.
I know, right?
This has been a week.
Yes, it has been. It's been a full moon week, so it's been extra in a lot of ways. As the children would say, it's been extra.
I got tore up by fire ants, like on both feet, and this was last Thursday, and they're still itching. Like, you know, I put the Benadryl spray stuff on them, and that helps for a little while. I just haven't put it on since this morning, but. Yeah, and we got a new roof put on our house yesterday, which was super noisy and loud, so I was not here during the time, most of the day, when it was going on. And it's also part of the reason that, you know, we're a little later in recording, but you guys don't care. Or at least you stop complaining. So I am knitting a couple things. This is the new, I just cast on the new hat from the Tin Can Knits collection.
That came out today.
Yeah, the Lazy Sunday collection.
You're a trendsetter.
This is the Snow Globe hat. And it is, the ribbing on it is an uneven count. So it's like knit an even number, purl an odd number.
Yep.
And it keeps messing me up.
Because it has cables.
But yeah, it's to make the cable pattern work, like, seamlessly. So there's a reason for it, at least. But yeah, the ladies of Tin Can Knits sent us the collection a couple weeks ago, and I knew I wanted to cast on this hat, and then there's also a sweater in there called Wanderer, which has got sort of a garter plus cable pattern in the front that I really like.
So we love Tin Can Knits because they are super size inclusive. A lot of their patterns fit the whole family.
They're written really well.
Yes.
Concisely. There's not a lot of extra like wordiness in there, but it explains things clearly and sends you to links if it needs more explanation.
And they have amazingly published a ton of free patterns, so if you've never tried one of their patterns before, they have loads of free ones to try.
The whole Simple collection is free, right?
That is correct. And they're just lovely human beings, so we like them a lot.
They write a great, they work really well off each other, I think.
And this collection is all cable based.
There's some great stuff in there if you like cables, or if you're new to cables. I feel like there's a couple of intro level items in there. So this is for, I don't know who it's going to be for, but I cast it on in the adult large size. So
what yarn is that?
It's Volmaiza in the...
Is that the worsted weight?
The DK.
Oh, the DK.
Yeah.
Because you had some of the infamous worsted for a while.
I don't have... I've still got a little bit of it, but... no, this is the DK, the 6-strand or whatever it is.
Okay.
8-strand.
And what size needles are you knitting it on?
It calls for a 4 for the brim and a 7 for, the bulk of the hat. I always go up one size, so I'm a 5 for the brim and a 7 or an 8 for the body. Any needle sizes that we mention are US. If we're talking about the metric version, we'll tell you the metric number. So this one's a 3.75 millimeter. But yeah, so that's the one thing I'm working on. The other thing that I've worked on this week is the sample sweater for Steph. I didn't realize this was a semi-cropped sweater until...
so it'll go faster.
The measurement on this is odd. So the pattern is Inflorescence by Teti Lipsak. Sorry, I'm going to butcher that name, and it's not intentional.
It's pretty.
It carries the floats on the right side of the fabric, and I learned that in order for that to work for me, I have to be super duper loose about it, and then just sort of go back and clean it up later with an extra tapestry needle or something, just sort of pull it tighter.
Pull those stitches a little tighter.
I couldn't. It took me 3 times to realize that that was the only way that was going to work for me.
So what's the underarm to bottom measurement?
9 inches, regardless of size.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the chest measurement size goes from inch-wise, 33 inches to 65 inches, and it's meant to have 4 to 5 inches of positive ease. But even with that, 30-inch difference in the smallest and largest size of the bust, the length from under the arm to the hem is the same. It's 9 inches.
So they're assuming, regardless of size, you're the same height, essentially.
The same, length from...
Yeah, your waist measurement is the same, because it is cropped.
But it's not that cropped if you look at it. It looks like not...
Not on her, but on me, that would be right around here.
Yeah.
Y'all can't
exactly.
see, but, a smidge below the boobs.
Because the wider that you are, it's going to stretch that and bring it up, right?
I don't understand that. So explain that again.
So
the wider that you are...
You got 9 inches of ribbing, right?
Or sweater body.
Assuming that... Yeah, sweater body. Assuming that you don't account for that amount of ease, right? The larger you are, the more, depending on how you want the garment to look on you or fall on you, you generally have to adjust the amount of ease that a pattern calls for, a sweater pattern.
Yeah, I'm with you so far.
Generally, you want less ease than what the pattern calls for. How much less depends on how comfortable you are with where it lays on your body and all that, your personal preferences.
Yeah. Ease is definitely a personal preference. You can go anywhere from a boxy up to a rumble raglan, which has negative ease.
Right. So, and I guess this is more geared towards ease, less about how the fabric behaves. But if you're... I'm trying to think of the right way to explain this.
So it's got 4 inches of ease on it.
Right. So let's just say that it's 40 inches around.
Okay.
Right? 40 inches around on a person who is 40 inches exactly, right? Then that should just stretch slightly, right? Just a little bit. Yeah. But on that same person who doesn't want ease, so let's say that person is 45 inches around, right? It's going to stretch that fabric.
So it's going to get shorter.
And frequently it's going to cause that hem to rise. But it's going to get shorter, like you just said.
Yeah, so I get that, but you're doing it with 4 inches of ease.
Well, I'm not doing it for me.
Yeah, no. But just in general, you're doing it with
right. Like I said, it depends on whether or not you're accounting for the ease. You're accounting for the amount of ease that the pattern calls for. But even so, that same amount of ease is going to look vastly different on a 33-inch bust than it is a 65-inch bust. So typically, that's accounted for in the underarm, like the measurement from under the arm to the hem of the garment. Typically there's a range, like, you know, if you're a 33-inch, sorry if you're counting, my bad.
No, you're fine.
But then it might be only 15 inches long for like a regular, quote, regular length item. And if you're knitting a 60-inch around, it might be 20 inches, right? But this is all a single length. I've not seen that before, but I've
seen that before.
Don't knit a lot of crop sweaters.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of times with that, it's with a decent amount of ease, like that 4 inches.
Yeah. Well,
I think with a design like that, though, I don't know. I would say that an author, a designer of a pattern, tells you how much ease is built, like how much ease is on the model, and then if you change that amount of ease, you have to be aware that that is going to change the fabric consistency.
But it's difficult for a designer who's only showing a single size in the pattern, right? For you to be able to look at this and say, okay, it tells me that this person is a size 2, which equals 37-inch bust, and that it's shown with 4 to 5 inches, or let's see, the model is shown. It doesn't even tell me how much ease is on the model,
but it tells you how much
her measurement is 39. Is so she's got 2 inches of positive ease in here, so it's helpful, right? But if I look vastly different size-wise from this model, this isn't super helpful. It would be a little more helpful if there was more than one. Not every I understand that this is probably not the full-time job of whoever this person is, right? And so they may not have the time and or means to have 6 different people's test knits in here. So, you know, Ravelry, if you can use it, is helpful. But, you know, Ravelry is also not people's jobs. And so when I went looking at this pattern and other people that have knit this pattern in their notes, most of them, it looked like a full-length sweater. And so a lot of people would just, if they decided, okay, I'd rather have this full length, they may not necessarily put that in their notes. They may not say, oh, I just knit it to whatever my normal length is. So because this isn't for me, right, this is a sample sweater, so I reached out to Steph and said, you know, what do you want to do? We went back and forth a couple times. She messaged some people that had knit it, and we decided on a length. So
so how long are you going to make it?
I need to go back and look, but I think 15 inches, which includes the hem, which is 4 inches of color work. So I need to knit it to about 11 inches.
So that 10-inch number that we were discussing before, did that include the 4 inches of color work? Okay.
Yeah. So I've got about 6 inches, roughly. I'll knit a couple more inches and then I'll start measuring to see where I'm at. I don't need to stop until I get to 11, at which point I'll shift to larger needles to account for the same as I did for the top. I'll do the same thing for the hem. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the sleeves before the hem, just so that it's easier to move around.
You could start the sleeves right now.
I might just wait until I finish this ball.
Mm-hmm. And then you won't have it dragging around.
Right. Then I won't have that to muck around with. So, yeah, so I'm happy with how it's going. It's a brilliant, brainless project at this point. There's no waist increases or decreases. You just knit until it's about, God, this is so small. It's so weird because my sweaters are typically not this small. But, yeah, so.
What size are you doing?
Teeny. Size 3, which is 41-inch chest. Although this really, to me, does not feel like 41 inches. Like, so that's 20 inches
20 across,
on either side. Plus, this is sort of bunched up on the needle, so. This is not stretched at all. This is just sort of its default. So, anyway, yeah, I'm happy. The yarn is amazing. I love
Steph's yarns are always amazing.
Love working with the loop yarn. Yeah, so that's the thing that I've been working on. That's basically all that I've been working on this week. I did warp my inkle loom because I did it wrong the first time.
It happens.
But yeah, I've spun a little bit on.
Oh, have you? What have you been spinning on?
It's the same thing I've been spinning. It's 8 ounces of Hip Strings Pros, and I'm at the point where I've got like 1.5 ounces left, maybe.
Nice.
Of that 8. But yeah,
you're just spinning to spin, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a project in mind for that.
Yeah. Just spinning to spin. And then I've still been doing the watercolor, 100 Days of Watercolor with Shannon. I don't remember. I think the peaches.
We did that one.
Done.
And you had a postcard. Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
So this is
I like the random branches.
The garden. This is a garden gate, and then this is just random branches. A bird. Actually, kind of looks like a bird.
No, it does look like a bird. I love your dandelion.
And then a dandelion.
I don't think I asked you what you bought at the art supply store the other day.
Just a couple of watercolor, like nice watercolor brushes, and a tube of a gray color I didn't have, Payne's gray. So this is just like a cherry blossom branch and a windmill.
I saw a hack on TikTok the other day for storing your watercolors. Get like a lipstick storage little thing. They sell these like cubes that are used for storing lipstick. And they'll store tubes of watercolor nicely.
Fancy.
Yeah.
A butterfly and a key. Some of these I like better than others. It's probably clear.
I like your florals.
Ferns and a flower.
I like your washi tape too.
Yeah, apparently washi tape is good for like blocking off sections that you don't want paint because it's really kind to the paper. So you can peel it off without it damaging the paper, as opposed to like masking tape.
Yep.
Or painter's tape, which is a little rougher on the paper. So, yep, that's it. That fell out.
And that is my favorite thing that you have done. Period. That little postcard.
Yeah, I think I showed that last week.
You did, and that's how I know about it because I was like, ooh.
So Laura doesn't have any spinning.
Nope.
This week, which might be one of the few times in this podcast Laura hasn't had spinning to talk about.
I'm focused on the knitting, friend.
But we do have a magazine to review.
We do. So Pom Pom was generous and sent us their autumnal issue, which is issue 42.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. So this is 2022 autumnal issue of Pom Pom Quarterly.
I'm making Laura talk because
Apparently.
I've been talking.
I didn't know that was part of the deal. There are several things in here that both of us like, and then there's something that Leslie really likes. The first thing that I really like is this pullover.
Valmoy.
And the thing that I really like about this is not only the color work, but when you see it in full frame, it's got some texture detail in addition to the color work. And Pom Pom always does, like Leslie was saying earlier, a little bit of, only seeing one model. Pom Pom always has multiple models of different sizes, and their sweaters are usually sized up to a 59 at least. So They always have some great models and great sizing.
And they have a good, like, diversity of what they put in there. A good diversity of, like, garments to accessories, articles.
Yeah. And I really, really like this sweater as well.
Polanina?
Which has both color work and some lace details. It's knit out of fingering weight, so I think it would be very wearable for this climate. It's made out of Jameson's Shetland, so it's also one that would be super fun to spin for.
Mm-hmm.
It means mountain meadow in Ukrainian.
I assume the sleeves are steeked because it looks like it's knit in the round.
Yep, I would assume so. Let's see. Oh, it's reminiscent of embroidery. So, yep. And then, let's see. I really like a hat that's coming up. There's some socks. There's a bunch of sweaters, but this is Leslie's.
I am living for it. So this is the Gramercy Cardigan, and I am all about the, like, you know, sort of oddball, crazy aunt, spinster, like, vibes this thing is giving off. I'm here for it. And I'm absolutely knitting that this winter, this fall.
It's a nice oversized, like, arts and crafts, giving me 80s vibes kind of type sweater. It's based off of block printed wallpapers. So it's really, really pretty. And the name means many thanks.
Yeah. It's in Tarja. That's how you get the panels. Which can be a little scary, but it's not actually as scary as you think it is. I am absolutely going to knit that thing this winter, so if anybody wants to join me.
The thing that I am going to knit is this beanie or beret. It is really, really pretty, and I like the stitch pattern detail. I think it's a great use of one skein of special sport yarn. And it just looks really pretty. It'd be great out of a 3-ply. And I just love, like, the natural leafy type of feel for it.
I like that it gives you the 2 different styles, the beret or the beanie style.
Yeah, and apparently it's actually worked flat and uses short rows and a crochet brioche stitch.
Never done that before.
So it might be a really interesting new technique to learn as well. So that is very cool. There's a great article in here by Aja Barber about sustainability of the clothing that you wear with your handcrafted items. I follow her on Instagram. She has some really, really interesting reflections on garments and the garment industry and fast fashion. So I cannot wait to read more of that.
There's some, like,
there's cookies
and decorating.
Yep.
And then the last half of the magazine is all
the patterns.
Details of the patterns.
So all the meat of the patterns.
And we only showed you about half of the patterns that are in here.
Lots of great sweaters. In fact, I will show you all the garments stacked up. So, lovely things. I love the color palette they chose. That mustardy yellow with the grays and the pops of pinks and blues. Just really, really pretty. So thank you, Pom Pom, for sending this. And Leslie really thanks you because she has found her grand project for this season.
Yeah, I was telling Laura I might spin for, like, the little Intarsia bits, but I won't for the
And Hello Yarn has those great little color packs. That would be fun to use.
I have plenty of fiber, but
yeah. I don't know what you have solid wise though.
I am pretty sure I could make something work. But yeah, so you can, if you're interested, you can buy individual patterns or the collection. I've linked to Pom Pom in our show notes. Our show notes are on our website, which is TheKnitGirlls with 3 L's.com. And yeah, thank you to Pom Pom. I like the collaborative approach that they take, and I don't know, I appreciate a magazine that isn't reactive to trends, and it just sort of does what it thinks is.
I feel like a lot of their pieces are not just, I mean, with the exception of your sweater, a lot of the pieces are more pieces that can be worn for multiple years.
Oh yeah, like a timeless sort of, less trendy. Well, I guess that's not the word. Less susceptible.
They would work well in a capsule wardrobe.
There you go. Let's see. So for reading, I've been rereading The Blacksmith Queen by G.A. Aiken. I like G.A. Aiken.
One.
So
I like her other...
The Dragons?
No, I like her Shelley Lawrenston books as well. They're honey badgers.
Yeah. I think I read one of those. I finished Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, which is sort of a male sci-fi. I wouldn't even call it romance at all. Like, it alludes to, like, there's some bedroom stuff that's going to happen, but there's never any detail, which is fine, right? But it's very political, and it wasn't what I expected it to be. So I'm re-listening to Sinner's Gin, because Laura talked about it last week, and I was like, yeah, I remember that. I want to listen to that one again. It's got,
Have you read the short stories?
Irish guys.
Yeah. So she did like a short story collection, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, and it's like, there's a whole bunch from Dude's point of view.
Oh. No, I haven't.
Which is the dog.
Yeah, Dude is great.
So those are, it's called like Another Sip of Gin. Those are definitely worth reading as well. And I just love a short story collection because I can read one and then go to bed. One short story, like, it's got a natural breaking point that I enjoy.
Oh, see, I'll break in the middle of a like in the middle of a paragraph. I'm like, nope, I'm done for the night.
Oh no.
As soon as I get to that point where, like, I feel like I could fall asleep, I'm done. What about you?
I am still listening to Hidden Legacy. Football is back. So I have been knitting while watching a whole bunch of football and other random sports on the TV. Yeah, that's about it. I've been doing SSK Zooms on Tuesday nights, which has been loads of fun, and that's been a couple hours that, I get stuff done. I knit on the sweater then, and it's nice catching up with people and seeing what they're working on.
Yeah.
So that's tons of fun. Speaking of SSK, we are working on some details, and we will have more information probably in a month or so.
Yeah.
We've both been pretty busy with our full-time jobs, so we've got to try to, and also Leslie and I never agree on teachers the first time through.
Yeah, I mean,
or anything really the first time through.
This is true.
We throw names out.
By the time it's like, March or April, and we're doing final details for like goodie bags and stuff, we're both just like, whatever, I don't care, just pick on. Because Laura, as soon as she finds something she really loves, she'll advocate. She'll be like, okay, let's do this. Like, this is great. And for me, it's like, well, I need to see every single option that's available everywhere. So
let's look at 55 plastic tumblers to see how they differ, and if they have straws or not. I hate straws. So yeah, if it's like a water bottle that has a straw, Leslie picked that one.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, more information on that to come. We're still running numbers and looking at teachers and all that. So, but yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Oh, we have a Halloween craft all the things going on.
Oh, yeah.
It started today.
This is the one where you're like, you can cheat to your heart's content.
So, it is on our Discord server, which is also linked in the show notes, which you can find at TheKnitGirlls with 3Ls.com. It is anything fall/Halloween. I did book talks to the kids this week, and I put up all 3 covers. So I do different book talks to 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. 6th grade was Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. 7th grade was Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown, and 8th grade was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And I was like, you already know Neil Gaiman, you just don't realize it. But yeah, I was like, what kind of season, what kind of vibes are these covers giving you? What do you think Miss Linneman's in the mood for? And my 8th graders were like, Miss Linneman, we know you love spooky season. Move along. But I read the first little bit of Graveyard Book. It's the best, one of the best intros to any book ever. The first chapter starts with, there was a hand in the darkness, and it held a knife. And it's just perfect. And I love the fact that it's a retelling of the Jungle Book. Like, perfection. Neil Gaiman, the way he uses language. He talks about the mist slithering and twining into the house through the open door that the assassin had snuck in through. And then Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown is amazing. It is about a girl and her best friend. They sneak out for the first snow of the season, and they go to the woods where they're not supposed to be, and she lays down and makes a snow angel, and it brings a ghost into their lives. And then Small Spaces, y'all, I talk about every year with the scarecrows that keep getting closer and closer and closer. And the 4th in that series just came out. It's Quartet now. So it is spooky season. It just makes my pumpkin spice loving heart happy.
Oh, the Bundt Cake Shop has a pumpkin spice flavor.
Interesting. I looked at Crumble earlier because I was in the mood for some cookies. I did not get any, but I was in the mood for some. And they are doing Minions cookies this week.
Yeah.
So it's like banana cream pie.
Ooh.
Okay, so we might have to go get cookies. Chocolate chip, which they always have.
I don't really like their chocolate flavors.
There's like a s'mores one, which has like a decorative little minion on it. There's there's a holiday this week that does moon cakes. So it's like an almond moon cake. Not to be confused with moon pies.
Yes, very different. If you've never had a moon pie, then you've never been to Tennessee. Probably.
But the moon cakes, it looks so good. And anyway, and the sugar cookie is yellow icing for the Minions this week instead of pink icing.
Are they like getting paid for?
I have no idea what's happening there. I guess it must have come out on DVD, the new movie or something.
Yeah. My kid was old enough to not be into kid movies by the time the Minions got really big.
I do like Despicable Me. I like Steve Carell, so I like the first one. I don't think I've seen... I did see the first Minions movie, I think. I don't know what happens in my life. That's in the past, and I can't even remember if I ate breakfast this morning. So yeah, it's spooky season, and there is a Halloween craft all the things going on, and you just have to sell whatever craft you're doing as Halloween or fall.
Yeah.
And
I made some chili while I was thinking about Halloween.
Yep. We had a fake fall here. It got down to 80 degrees. It was amazing. Next week it will be in the hundreds. Less amazing.
Yeah.
So, and it's been low humidity here this week. I don't know where I live. It's like I live outside of Mississippi. But it's been lovely while it lasts. I'm going to try to convince Michael to try real ramen. And we're going to watch some Drag Race. And I'm going to get some knitting done on this. And go home to a dog who's been like, you've been away all day. And now you went to Auntie Leslie's.
You stayed home for a couple hours.
I did.
Hush, Pearl.
But she slept during those 2 hours. She was on the couch sleeping, so they don't count. We all live on Pearl's schedule.
My dog is being adorable and sleeping over there. So
she's so well behaved.
Because she's an old lady.
I know.
I like old dogs. I have no problem with old dogs. Anyway, we're babbling.
Yep.
You guys have an amazing weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.